In this video, we're going to talk about frame rates and how different frame rates can affect the look or style of your films. As a super quick introduction, frame rate or frame frequency is the rate at which your camera captures the individual images that make up 1 second of film. This is usually expressed as FPS. As a general rule of thumb, you won't deviate from those frame rates unless you want to achieve a particular style or look that deviates from the reality that you see around you. For example, shooting a very high frame rate to capture objects at speed, which can then be slowed down, creating slow motion video. Everything that you've seen so far has been shot at 25 frames per second and edited in a 25 FPS timeline. Now I'm going to show you how changing your frame rate can give you different looks, starting with 50 FPS. Most DSLRs are able to shoot at 50 or 60 frames per second, effectively giving you twice the amount of frames per second that you need for real time. This means that we can slow the footage down by 50%, creating a smooth, half-speed image. Now, if we try the same thing at 200 frames per second using a Sony FS5, we can really see the slow-mo effect. We're recording 8 times more frames than we need for real time, which means we can play this footage at 12.5% speed to really stretch out time. Lastly, here's an example of a low frame rate. This footage was shot at 12 frames per second using the Sony FS5 quick and slow menu function. Here we're capturing fewer frames than we need for real time, which gives the images a stop motion, dropped frame effect when played half speed in a standard 25 FPS timeline. Now, one thing I haven't talked about is how to adjust your shutter speed when you're changing frame rates. As a simple guide, your shutter speed should always be twice your frame rate. So for a film of 25 FPS, your shutter speed should be 50. This creates just the right amount of motion blur to match what our eyes see around us. But for more creative examples of shutter speed, check out the next video in this series. Thanks for watching.